Hi, my name is Anya Stott, and I'm a freshman at Cedar Crest College. My Media Literacy Week project is about how females are represented in the superhero genre. So I want you to think of a superhero, anyone at all that comes right into your head. What do you think of? Superman? Batman? Maybe Iron Man or Captain America. So what do they all have in common? Well, they're all male. And I'm not saying these heroes do not deserve the fame that they have, but what about women? Where is that representation? Let's do another little practice. Now think of a male superhero symbol. I'm going to guess you most likely thought of Superman's or Batman's symbol. If you asked a random person in the street and showed them these two insignias, almost everyone would be able to name the heroes associated with them. Now think of a female superhero symbol. I bet that wasn't as easy as the first question. Many of you probably thought of Wonder Woman, maybe Black Widow if you're a Marvel fan. Other than those two, there sadly aren't that many that are widely as known as male symbols are. I have seen a lot of superhero movies, ranging from Marvel to DC to other series, and can barely think of another symbol other than Wonder Woman. These are just a couple symbols of well-known superheroes or superhero groups. Do you see how Wonder Woman is represented as the only solo female heroine? Anyone can see this if they search in Google or any other search engine for superhero symbols. Mostly ones associated with male superheroes show up. Even the groups shown in the picture are mostly led by men. And this wasn't just me searching for a particular picture that would help me prove my point. Go on Google and just type up superhero logos, and many more pictures just like this one will show up. This is why I put superhero symbols on my presentation. For anyone who doesn't know, going from left to right, there's Supergirl symbol, Captain Marvel's, Black Widow's, and then Wonder Woman's. Do you know how hard it was to find female superhero symbols that most people would recognize or have an idea whose emblem it is? It was actually pretty difficult. So this brings up the question of why. Why do we think of male superheroes right away? It isn't a black and white answer, and it has many components to it. Many play into the inequities female superheroes face. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I'll refer to as the MCU, the franchise started with the first Iron Man movie in 2008. Since then, there have been 24 more films released, and I would like you to guess the number of movies centered solely around a female character. There are two. Captain Marvel in 2019 and Black Widow, which is one of the most recently released MCU movies in this year, 2021. If you look at the picture, it has the movies in order of release date of the first 21 movies. Look how many movies it took to get to Captain Marvel, the first female-led movie. It took 11 years and 20 films to have a female-centered MCU movie, and it isn't like there isn't female superheroes to center a movie around either, though there are less of them. Black Widow has been in 7 of these MCU movies, but never had a movie based on her until 2021. This is also displayed by the original 6 Avengers, focused in the first Avengers movie. These members are Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. Only one of those people is female. So for the TV side of things, on the CW, a TV network, it has several DC superhero shows on it. DC stands for Detective Comics, and if I reference DCEU, it is the DC Extended Universe. The 3 shows that I will be mentioning from this network include Arrow, The Flash, and Supergirl. While the gap in release dates of these shows isn't too bad, Arrow coming out in 2012 and Supergirl in 2015, I noticed other differences within the shows. One major inequity is the costumes, but not in the way you might be thinking. I'll get to that issue a bit later. The Flash has gotten 5 costume updates or entirely new suits in its 7 seasons, with another update for its new season in progress. Even Green Arrow has had more changes to his suit than Supergirl, which if you watch Arrow, you would know that that's saying something, because he's a pretty practical guy. So it took 4 seasons for Supergirl to get a new suit. It was quite a progressive change, at least, since Supergirl now had pants instead of a short skirt, Almost all of these superhero CW shows film in Vancouver, Canada, and the actress Melissa Benoist expressed being cold while filming with her legs exposed. I understand that the writers and producers want to have an accurate costume from the comics, but the actress's concerns should be taken into account. Also, it took years for any updates, especially when you compare it to her male counterparts, who got 3+ upgrades. In my opinion, I feel like the suit with pants does not stray away from the character's origins or values. So it should not have been such an issue to have even a small upgrade to the costume for Supergirl. So talking about costumes, this kind of leads into a topic I hinted earlier. And this topic is sexualization. There are less female superheroes represented in the media, but how accurate are these depictions? According to the American Psychological Association, sexualization is to make something or someone sexual in nature, or when someone's value is reduced to one's appearance. For these examples, I will mostly be referring to Marvel and DC superheroes. For Marvel actresses, Scarlett Johansson, who plays Black Widow, Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Scarlet Witch, and Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel, have all faced overly revealing costumes and discrimination for not displaying the typical feminine behaviors. Black Widow is hypersexualized throughout the MCU franchise. In Iron Man 2, she literally undresses in the car to get on her suit. I almost think that her fight scene after that is overshadowed by that undress scene, since most people can probably recall that scene if asked about the movie. They also emphasize this when Happy, which is a person's name, looks at her while driving the car. In her introduction in that movie, Tony is shown to be very interested in her looks when looking at her profile. Then in the first Avengers movie, her opening scene has her in a skimpy black dress that no one would really fight in, and then has her fight in it. The writers and producers definitely play on Johansson's appearance and use it. Scarlett Johansson did an interview with a journalist from Collider, and when asked about sexualization of superheroes, she said, "You look back at Iron Man 2, and while it was really fun and had a lot of great moments in it, the character is sexualized, you know? I really talked about like she's a piece of something, like a possession or a thing." She then references her introduction to Iron Man 2 and how Tony talks about her character. "I want some." Yeah, at one point calls her a piece of meat, and maybe at that time that actually felt like a compliment. Johansson felt as if her character in the beginning was treated like an object instead of a human being, which isn't what Black Widow stands for at all. Elizabeth Olsen also had issues, but this was with her superhero suit. In the past, in an interview with Elle, Olsen commented on how she would change the neckline of her suit. She even compared her character to other female heroes, such as Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok, who did not have such exposing outfits. This interview was in 2018, so this was before her TV series. For WandaVision, she had input for the design of her suit and wanted to make it functional, which is why her new suit had a higher neckline. Captain Marvel faced many issues, but not like the ones we previously mentioned. It isn't that the actress felt sexualized or had to wear an exposing costume. Her superhero suit is actually pretty realistic in terms of fighting and protection, but fans largely criticize the movie. There are several reasons for this dislike. So some fans actually pointed out that the character, Carol Danvers, doesn't smile enough. I'm not joking. Fans have a problem with her not smiling. Do you see Black Widow or Scarlet Witch smiling often in their other movies? These characters are put in extreme and horrible conditions. Why would they need to smile? Like, I get at the end we want them to be happy, but seriously? The tweet on the right expresses the opinion of many. This person edited these screenshots of Captain Marvel and had it changed so she's smiling. The person also implies that they have fixed the character by having her smile. This person is not alone, as many express the same thing. Some fans hated the movie before it was even released. Some of the hate is directed towards the actress, Brie Larson. Brie Larson is a vocal feminist. Before the movie was released, she made some comments about most of her press days having many white males. Fans did not like that statement and immediately jumped to conclusions. There are many people who took that as her saying she has something against white men, which is obviously not true. Some took it as far as saying they would boycott the movie because Larson would not want white men or men in general seeing her film, which is displayed by the comments at the top right, in which one of them reads, Larson has made it clear, men need not attend this movie. Larson did not mean she hates men, but that she felt like the environment was inclusive. She later clarified this, but people continued to drive negative comments towards her film. The other image shows other reasons why fans dislike Captain Marvel. When I watched the movie, I thought she was a little unemotional at times, but one has to look at the context. She has amnesia and doesn't know where she came from and has no family. She grew up where she knows she's different somehow. I get her character may not be for everyone, but that doesn't mean she should be labeled as unlikable or belittles everyone. Other characters in other movies belittle or name call other people, but no one has experienced so much hate as Captain Marvel and Brie Larson. Black Widow just was released this summer, and no one says how the movie could be an agenda like Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel and its actress have experienced unfair treatment and sexist behavior. Most of these comments had nothing to do with the quality of the film. So for the DC female superheroes, many of them aren't represented in the media apart from Wonder Woman. They are more portrayed in animated shows. The animated shows also include some over-revealing costumes that can sexualize the characters. It is almost worse in these animated shows because there's no actress to worry about and no concern on how to make it practical for someone to wear and move in. So starting with a hero that almost everyone knows, Wonder Woman, she had a series with the same name in 1975. Linda Carter played Wonder Woman in this depiction. The costume definitely was geared toward showing a lot of skin. It is important to mention, though, that Carter did not feel like her portrayal or Wonder Woman in general has been sexualized. So she wasn't uncomfortable in the outfit. It did not leave much to the imagination, though, with the low neckline and bottoms that were basically underwear. It isn't bad to expose skin. Women can be confident in their bodies no matter how much skin is exposed. What I'm saying is that it is an issue if A, the actress is uncomfortable, or B, it is just to sexualize the character and make her more appealing for male characters. While the actress did not feel like the character was sexualized, I do think the costume revealed more skin than necessary and definitely more on the risque side. For the next two heroines, these depictions are crucial because they have not been represented in much media at all. Zatanna has been portrayed in live action role once in Smallville, and has been in several animated shows. The character has some toy figures as well. In most iterations, her costume accentuates her chest or her legs. Her power set includes magic that is casted by saying spells backwards, which is why she dresses as a magician. There's no reason for a costume to be as revealing as it is. Sapphire isn't that well known, but she's a very strong female superhero, or sometimes a villain. She has a very similar power set to Green Lantern. There are minimal portrayals of her, but all are in animated series. In these depictions, she's scantily dressed in her superhero suit. I know superheroes aren't supposed to be realistic, but no one would fight in that. If this character was to be made into a live action portrayal, I would be concerned for the actress. These characters also show how not many female superheroes are represented. Many of you probably don't know who Zatanna or Sapphire is at all. So more recently, there are writers and producers and actresses that do recognize these issues. Some of these writers write this acknowledgement into their scripts and have the female characters face these troubles on screen. I know I have mentioned Supergirl in terms of unfair treatment, but there is a moment in the pilot of Supergirl where there is this acknowledgement of the over-sexualized costumes in the comics, and they make light of it. I think it is smart how this scene was written because it highlights how the comic depictions are not realistic to be translated for real people. I thought it would be best to watch the scene for yourself, so here it is.
So how is it? How's it fit?
I'm not flying around saving people in this thing. I was right at the beach.
Where's my cake? It's are lame. Tell your cousin I said so. Actually, never do that. Oh, you look really pretty without your glasses. So, to be a superhero, you need a crime. I hacked into the NCPD. There's a car chase on the 112 freeway.
I can do car chase.
Good aerodynamics. I should have thought of that.
West National, 432. Spring. Suspects are armed and dangerous.
You sure you're bulletproof?
Also,
The new cape is made from a structured polymer composite. It's much sturdier than, and this one has the S for super, just like your cousin.
it's not us. My family's coat of arms. The House of Elf.
My next example is not a Marvel or DC superhero, but she has a story arc that embodies problems with sexualization. She is a character from the TV show The Boys, which was released in 2019. Throughout season 1, the Seven, who are a group of famous superheroes, force her to change her costume, and she experiences sexual assault as initiation into the group. She comes into herself, speaks out about her sexual assault, and changes back to the costume she wants to be in by the second season. The writers of The Boys not only mention both issues, but have the character work through her experiences and confront the problems. Another good example of a good representation is Starfire. While it didn't exactly start out that way, it definitely got there eventually. In many iterations, she wears some very revealing suits. In the Teen Titans, The Judas Contract, an animated movie, her introduction scene has the males, superheroes, obviously attracted to her and reduce her to just her appearance. On her planet, lip contact is how people translate their languages. The males joke about other languages they know and if she wants to learn them. They only just met her and only care about her appearance. In Titans, a live-action TV series, Starfire only wears a purple dress and a very long black boots for the first season, the whole season. The second season, she wears normal clothes, but never gets a suit. She finally gets a costume in the third season, which is very much upgraded at least. I did not like the season 1 outfit because she wore it for so long and it did not even look like the comic book costume. I really don't get what they were going for with that. The new costume is more a modern take on it, and I really hope others follow this example. It did not even have to be a full bodysuit, but it still is a nod to the comics without sexualizing the character and actress. I think it is important to mention that male superheroes often do not have their costume changed much from the comics into more sexualized versions. So, with all this being said, you might be thinking, why is this important? These are just fictional superheroes. What does it matter to me? Entertainment is very important in our lives. It is where many of us go to feel happy or thrilled or just to distract us. Superheroes are everywhere because of that. Still not convinced though? Well, there's much time spent with superheroes. There's 25 films currently, up to Shang-Chi, released in the MCU and 10 in the DCEU. This translates to 3,137 minutes, or about 52 hours of MCU Marvel movies, and 1,346 minutes, or about 22 hours of DCEU movies combined. This does not even include TV shows, animated shows, video games, and other media from these two franchises. Also, I mostly used examples within these two cinematic universes, meaning that there are major franchises within Marvel, for example, that are not within the MCU, such as the X-Men or the Fantastic Four, which are major groups but are not included. Then there are all forms of media with other companies because there's much more than Marvel and DC. Then there's the sheer amount of superheroes. Think of the biggest assembly of superheroes. Maybe you think of the scene in Avengers Endgame, not to spoil it. There are so many recognizable superheroes in that scene, and there are so much more in the comics. Marvel Comics alone has thousands of heroes, and this doesn't include other people in the gray area, not quite a hero, but not a villain, or one-off heroes, or even villains, or characters that aren't heroes in the traditional sense, but want to help, like Lois Lane. There are tens of thousands if you include those people. So really only a few get any representation in media. Some heroes get many iterations, yet some hardly get any or at all depicted outside of the comics. With there being thousands of heroes, there are thousands of opportunities for media representation. So the superhero genre will only continue to expand and grow. With a lot of characters and movies and shows comes money, and I mean spending it. We spend a huge amount of money to go to the movies and watch these films. We also pay streaming services to watch TV series or pay for a video game. One of the most anticipated MCU movies, Avengers Endgame, made about $2.8 billion at the box office worldwide. That is just one movie out of the 25 in the franchise. Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice made $872 million at the box office. These are just two movies out of two huge franchises. So, in conclusion, for a long time and still in present day, men dominated this genre. One of the reasons for this is why many of the superheroes we recognize are men. In addition, women in the superhero genre experience inequity, especially in costumes and overall treatment. They are written to be seen as feminine, attractive, thin, and innocent. Actresses have felt sexualized, and while it is getting better with acknowledgement of these issues, it still exists. And I'm not saying that men don't face these issues too. They just face them in a different way. So this problem is even bigger than what I described. The entertainment industry is so vital in society for all ages. And coupled with the time and money we spend on it, the representation needs to be fair and accurate. Young children are exposed to superheroes all the time. It has the potential to change or warp their perception of females. So yeah, representation is powerful, even in superhero movies, especially in superhero movies. Thank you.